Hi everyone, it's Lisa with InkandInspirations.com. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to our premiere video for this week where I'm featuring the Honeybee Home bundle from the Stampin' Up! Mini catalog that is currently available. I have a question for you though. Do you ever use some of your paper crafting projects for home decor? Well, I hope you stay tuned because at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I've used tonight's projects on a home decor piece that I think you're really gonna like. So let's get started. Okay, this first project is a 3D project, and the design is something that you could use with any stamp set or papers or, whatever theme you wanted to use, but I'm using Honeybee Home, so I'm carrying that over into my project. So let's get started. We have an 8.5 by 8.5 piece of Bumblebee cardstock. This is currently on the last chance list. I think it's still available as of now, March 31st, but these colors are as a while supplies last basis. So we're going to make the frame out of this. If you don't have the Bumblebee cardstock, you can use Crushed Curry or Daffodil Delight. Just pick a yellow that you like. Okay, so it's 8.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score it at 1 1/2, 1, 1.5, and 2 on all four sides. So let me put this down, and I'm going to use my paper trimmer for this. So I'm going to start on this side, on the right side of the scoring track, and I'm going to score it 1/2, and then 1. And then I'm going to flip it because it's just easier for me to hold for the 1.5 and 2. And then we're going to do that on all four sides. So these types of frames you can make in just about any size opening and just really make a good sturdy frame for a lot of different projects. Okay, 1/2. 1, 1.5, and 2. Whoops. Okay, and again. And once you make several of these, it's easy to do without even looking at the instructions. It's been a while since I've made one, so I had to go back and tutor myself on the process. And then one more time. And so with all these scores, we're going to need our bone folder to make some good creases, and it just makes it easier overall to put the project together. Okay, flip it one more time here, 1.5 and 2. Okay, I'm going to move the trimmer out of the way just for a minute. I'm going to get my bone folder and score on all these lines. So the trick here is to get good scores and use a good strong adhesive, which I'm going to be using tear and tape and also a little bit of liquid glue on this. So I'm just going to crease these as I go along. Then we're going to be doing some trimming. In fact, we're going to trim off the 4 corners, but I like to do this process first. It just makes it so much easier. Okay, so we have that. Now what we're going to do is cut off the 4 corners, okay? And so I'm going to get my paper snips, follow up on the score line, and cut it off. So there's 1, and then 2. Oops. It's all right. Okay, so now we have these. You can save them or just discard. Oh, one more, Lisa. So have any of you made this type of frame before? I've done, most of the ones I've made have been this smaller size. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I have my little template over here. Okay, and so this is what we're going to end up with. And so we've cut off the 4 corners, and now I have to do a little more measuring with my trimmer and make a score line so that I know where to cut. Just makes it easier. So I'm going to line this edge up on the 1/2 inch mark here, and I'm going to score down to this second score line. Okay, 1, 2. So I'm going to bring up my scoring tool and just come down to that second score line. And this little ridge right here lines up with the score line, okay? And we're going to do that on 2 sides only. Now, since this is a square, you just pick 2 opposite sides, okay? So let me get this done. I better do it over here. And this is what I should have done here. Okay, makes it a lot easier. There's 1/2 there, and then I can come down here to 1/2 and go up to the second score line down here. Okay? Now, let's bring it around and do it again on this other side. So you see I've got 2 opposite sides, okay? So I'm going to come up to the second score line. Move this up here. And then come down to the second score line. Again, that's at the 1/2 inch mark, okay? So now we have those marks, and that's going to show us where to cut and trim, okay? So what I'm going to do is follow that score line I just made, and then cut an angle down to that next score line. Bam. Okay. So down to the second score line, and then angle to the third. Down and angle. Oop, left a little piece. And then down and angle. All right. So now I'm going to take and put tear and tape on each of the 4 edges. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over because this is going to round in and go like that. Okay, so let me go ahead and put the tear and tape on. It's a good strong adhesive, easy to apply. So I'm just going to go along the edge. Got a little bit too much there. Okay, so we have our adhesive on. Okay, so now we have the adhesive on all 4 sides. We're going to start assembling. So we're going to start with the 2 sides that we did not cut in on the angle there. So let me go ahead and remove the tear and tape. And we're gonna flip this up. And remember, you need to stay to the end so you can see the home decor piece that I put together. All right, so I'm gonna turn it like this, and this is gonna sit down flat and make that dimensional edge. Isn't that awesome? And with Stampin' Up! Cardstock that is such a heavy weight, it makes for a beautiful project. Okay, so we have the two sides. Now we're going to do the same thing here, but first we're going to add a little liquid glue on these triangles, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and peel this and hope it doesn't stick to my surface, okay? And then I'm going to put a little glue here. This is our multi-purpose liquid glue. Here and here, not too much, just on that little triangle. Okay, and then you're going to fold it in, stick it to my fingers, fold it in, and come down. And that glue on those little triangles there is going to adhere it right there to this edge. And I'm going to hold it for just a minute to let that glue set. Okay, and let's do the same thing to this side. A little glue, pull this up, and then fold it over, down, and then bring it on around. And then I press down once I'm sure I've got it folded nicely, and then I can hold it down right here. Just let that liquid glue set a bit. And there's our frame. Isn't that cool? Okay. Need to hold that just a little longer. Okay. So now, let's look at what we're going to put on the inside. So I got a piece of basic white, cut it at 3.5-inch square, and then I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with this Hives embossing folder. So cool. Okay, so I have that. So we're going to work with that, and I'm going to take my cut letters. Now these are cut with the Playful Alphabet dies. These are on the last chance list, and I love them. I hate they're going away because I use them for projects like this all the time. They're the perfect size for projects like these, or for this letters for a card front, okay? So I'm just going to come in. I don't want to get too close to the edge there, but I'm going to just space them a bit before I put any glue down. And if you wanted to, you could just have Be Kind, all right? But I'm using bees as my theme, so I'm going to put Be, Be Kind with the B-E-E. And here are my other letters. Now these are just cut with basic black cardstock, and I'll get them fairly straight once I get them glued on. Can line them up on the honeycomb there. And then I also have, or I did have, I cut a piece, used a piece of Misty Moonlight 2x3, and I die cut one of these floral dies from the bundle. This one right here. Thought that would make a pretty accent. And that's glued like coming down behind that. And I want to trim that off a little bit. I don't want the stem too long. So I'm going to do that. And I kind of know how I want this to go. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this and then put the Be Kind over it. So I'm just putting a few dots of liquid glue here. And I'm going to angle that just a little bit and hold it to let the glue set. All right, now let's go with our letters. Go for it. Come over a little bit there. What's neat about this alphabet is on some of there are multiple letters. Like for B, I was able to cut both E's at the same time. Love that. And these will go through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which makes it easy. Okay, and I'm going to start a little farther over with the K. Then we have our I. Then N. And then D. And I'm just going over that stem, that floral stem. Okay. Now, I'll show you here. That just goes right down there in the center, and you can glue that down. You need to hold that a little longer. Now, ideally, this could have come down a little farther, but it's okay. I'm going to modify a bit. Okay, so I have the bees and a little ribbon with the gingham ribbon and twine, I should say let's linen thread. That's there for a little embellishment for this project. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to change up how I did the initial one. Since I have some space down here, I'm going to put that bee with a glue dot down here, okay? And then I'm going to put this one up here. And I just colored those with Stampin' blends after I die cut them. No, I colored them, then I die cut them. But I stamped them Memento Black ink. And then, let's see. I'm going to do this like I had originally. And just change it up a bit. So I've got a glue dot behind there. And then here. And there we have a really cute home decor project. Okay, so let me show you the initial one. Now, I'm using this on something special, so stay tuned. We're going to make a card next, and I'm going to show you how we use an element off that card to make a really nice home decor project. Just part of it. Okay, let me get set up for the next project. Okay, I'm back, and I have a little announcement. I had technical issues with my last premiere video, so I didn't get to choose someone to receive this card. So this week, I'll be choosing two people, one to receive this one from the Hello Beautiful bundle, and then the card that I'm making now from the Honeybee Home, okay? All right, let's get moving. Here is the card we're going to make. Aren't those combination of colors and prints just so pretty? Okay, let's get started. I have a piece of Misty Moonlight, 4 1/4 by 11. And again, this is one of the colors, in colors that is retiring. For the inside of the card, I have a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white and a scrap, I think that's a 1/2 inch by 4 piece strip of the designer paper, or one of them that I'm using on this project. So for this particular card, I'm using an element from this card on a home decor project that I'm going to be showing you after I finish here. So be sure and stay tuned. Okay, so next I have a piece of the Heart and Home Designer Series paper. It's cut at 4 by 5.5, and that is going to go on the front of the card. So it goes top to bottom, but it has that little 1/8 inch border on the side. So let's go ahead and put that on, and then we can work on the tag that's going to go on the front of the card. So let me get this centered top to bottom, side to side. When you use liquid glue, it gives you a little wiggle room that you can move it. Okay, I can set that aside, and let's look at this part. So this is a piece of Honeybee Home with those bees in it and cinnamon cider background, 3 by 5.5. So first of all, I'm going to be using a punch on this, and it is also a punch that's also retiring or on the last chance list. It's the Detail Trio punch for corner embellishments and for tag topper punch to punch a hole in the top. So for this one, I'm going to round the corners. So there's some little guides in here. You just slide the edge of your paper and be sure it butts up against each of these bumpers, okay? And then you punch. And let's do it again on this side. Slide it in, be sure it's all the way in, and punch, okay? And then if you wanted to make this a tag, you would take this little piece and the bumper goes up all the way to these, the paper goes up to these bumpers and you punch. Since this is going on a card, I don't need to punch that, but I did on the tag that I'm using on the home decor project. Okay, next I have one of the doilies from the Heart and Home doilies. There are 3 colors: cinnamon cider, basic gray, and misty moonlight to coordinate with the designer series paper. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on my card because we're just going to work up from there. Okay, so now here we have a 3.5 by 5.5 piece of basic white, just a scrap piece so that I can stamp and cut. And I've already cut and colored one of the elements, and this is this bee. I used Daffodil Delight and Cinnamon Cider to color him, and I also used Wink of Stella on the leaves. So I'm going to put that right there so I don't lose him. And then I'm going to be stamping a floral stem from the stamp set. And I believe I have that over here. Here are all the images in the set. I'm going to be using this one. Pull that out. And since I am using Stampin' blends, I'm going to stamp in Memento Black ink. And then I'm going to color with some Stampin' blends. So the colors I chose are dark, soft succulent, and pale papaya, light and dark. So let me do the soft succulent first. I'm using the bullet tip or the fine point, whichever you like to call it, instead of the brush tip, because it's just such a small area. Okay, and then the leaves. I'm not doing any shading on this one. Just wanted the color to be bold. I will use the light and the dark of the pale papaya. So pale papaya and soft succulent are 2 of the end colors that will be carrying over. And love them both. All right. Now I'm going to take dark pale papaya and just kind of go in toward where the shadows are, where the artist puts the little etchings or the like shadow areas. And so you can kind of use that to help you color. I'm going around there, just kind of filling in. Nothing definite about it, just, I'm just going to blend it all with the light Playful Papaya. And then we're going to die cut this with our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, move these out of the way. And let me grab the mini boss here. It's on sale through the end of the night tonight. Okay, so I'm going to get this is the die to cut this. We'll pull off that top cutting plate, put this down, and I like to use Post-it tape to hold my embossing in place. So I'm going to try to get a piece here, and I reuse it several times until it loses the stick. Okay, so let me get that here. And it's real thin, so it runs through the embossing machine just fine. Put that top layer on, and let's run it through. Okay, move it out of the way. And there we have our pretty piece there. Put that back so I don't lose it. And now let's get our elements back in here. So I can start gluing this down. This is going to go top to bottom, center it side to side. So let me go ahead and put that on. Okay, then I'm going to glue on this and have the bee ready to go. So that's going to go like this. So I'm going to kind of determines where I put each one. So I'll put them side by side first, and then I add the adhesive. You know, you want to be sure you always have room for the largest die or element that you're putting on your card front, and then go from there. Now for the sentiment, I already have stamped and embossed this piece here, You're the Nicest, on the Misty Moonlight. And I'm just going to fussy cut that out like you know I love to do. And I'm just going around, kind of do rounded corners. Come along. And just, I'm going to try to round this corner right here by the Y. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to use some black mini Stampin' Dimensionals since we've got a dark color here. So you see how those fit really well on that very thin sentiment, but it's still going to give it a pop-up on the front of our card or tag. And then I'm just going to put it right here across. And then we have some embellishments to put on. These classic matte dot embellishments in the mini catalog are part of this suite as coordinating. You see it has the black, the gray, the vanilla, and the white. So on this one, I'm going to use the white and put 2 down here in this little bit of space. And then I'm going to come up here or here. I think I'm going to the right over there. Okay, and then one more little embellishment. I have some of our open weave ribbon in Playful Papaya. I've already tied the bow, but I'm going to trim off these tails a bit at an angle. And then put them on the top. So let me see. So I'd like to say that if you're not on my email list, be sure you go to inkandinspirations.com and sign up for that so that you get my weekly emails with the latest and greatest and some exclusive project ideas. And when you sign up, you also get a free online card class. Okay, you see there? Isn't that pretty? Okay, so there is our card. And now, stay tuned. I'm going to show you how I use this tag element and our little framed element on a home decor piece. Okay, I just walked to another part of my studio where I have this home decor piece that is on my husband's grandmother's old Singer sewing machine. And so if you watched the earlier parts of this video, you saw where we created this framed piece and this tag, which went on the front of the card. You can see I did the top a little different. I made it like a tag. But what I have here is a tier tray, and these are, you've probably seen them. You probably have one. So popular right now. And what I did is that, first of all, I found this tier tray that I just absolutely love. And then I thought, you know, we have some beautiful stamp sets and artwork that I can use to help add to this piece. So when I'm out shopping around, I'm looking for things that will coordinate. And so I picked up a few things, and I'll tell you that. But I wanted to show you how I have the framed piece and the tag. The honey cup is one, the mug is one that my daughter gave me because my grandchildren call me Honey. I found some of those wooden beads and I strung them on some twine, and then I just used some of our Stampin' Up! Ribbon to make like a tassel on each end, okay? This piece right here is a wooden scrap piece that my husband cut the house shape for me, and I just made a pattern and glued some of that Heart and Home designer paper. The little honey dipper I found in a store, a little package of them. So I colored the top of that with my crushed curry Stampin' Right marker, okay? Then you see that little bee on there. That's one of our elements from the annual catalog. That's going away soon, so grab those if you don't have them. The gingham ribbon, the linen thread tying around, and then the doily behind it. So that made another little element. And then, let's see. Oh, I just have this one more tied down here. And I was going to try to find a little jar or something to put it in to take up this space. And I made the little honeybee banner with the that alphabet, the Playful Alphabet that I used in the on the project. And I also, you can see up close, I used the embossing folder. I used one of our tag punches to make these, and I'll probably do a video on that because it was super easy, okay? And I just wanted to show you how you can take these beautiful creations you make and use them for home decor. Okay, and I'm hoping to show you more as I go along and change this out. But if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me for this Honeybee Home premiere. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.